Look, what's the time?
I haven't noticed. I've noticed.
What's the time?
Have you locked up out the back yet?
What's the time?
Have you locked up out the back yet?
Why should I be locking up?
Why should I open up?
Because you get here first.
Oh, we got to play this game, are we?
Alright, so everyone's logging into the video. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We are here for... How many weeks in a row have we done this now? Does it not match up?
This is our 5.
No, it's not 5. It'll be 4. Oh, because you won on a Friday and then one on the following Monday, yeah? So...
Oh, what have you done with the printer?
What have you done with it?
It won't let me print now.
Oh, boo! I couldn't print something, and so he was having a...
I'm not joking.
Ha.
He messed around with my printer and now it doesn't work.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Oh, why have you done this?
I haven't done anything.
A lot of paper in the cassette. I have a lot of paper in the cassette.
Alright. A little bit of trivia for anyone who rings up. What's that? Yeah. Does anyone know what that is? Howdy, Cameron. Can anyone tell me what that is?
I know.
Except for Trent.
It's your big head.
Yes. Michael Cubis is watching. Cubis. They haven't banned social media in Queensland yet, have they? They've banned everything else. So I was actually hoping that with the change of opinion in Western Australia, in that we're now allowed to trade, that Queensland and Victoria would have followed suit, but it doesn't seem that that is the case.
Poor old Queensland and Victoria.
Alright, you're going to be here for a while, messing around.
I am.
You're just that sort of person.
I am. Sorry.
You're never ready for anything. So,
Sorry guys, I've actually been busy
we'll
today.
hand it over to Bill. Shut up. Just do what you're supposed to be doing.
I am. Shut up. Just shut your face.
Alright, so Bill, what have you got this week? Stand back a bit.
What we have here
is big.
Is a bit of West Australian gunsmithing genius in the shape of a bloody 6-shot repeater 40mm grenade launcher. It fires these
Inch and a half,
38mm really, inch and a half. Yeah, imitation. These are made as imitation artillery bursts, and this weapon, firearm, whatever you like to call it, was made by an old gunsmith in WA, Max Williams. He actually made 2 of them, and they were used to simulate the artillery bursts when the film Gallipoli was made. So if anyone's seen that, you'll remember all
the smoke and
the smoke puffs in the air, which were the imitation artillery bursts. And that's what these cartridges are designated as.
Around the phone, yeah. It's all backwards.
Oh,
so
it's backwards, but
I'm going to struggle to read it. Just read it out.
1.5 inch cartridge, smoke, puff brown, manufactured by someone, 3rd month of 77. Wallop Industries, UK. Wallop.
So you load the rounds in the magazine like that, and then you push it across, and it indexes on each round, and then it's actually a what's the gun? What's the
an old Webley or something like that, I'd say.
Have to be.
Revolver.
So he's actually got a Webley and cut the cylinder and everything off it to make the to make the firing mechanism. So you actually fire it like that, yeah?
Yeah.
And then you would
Bump it.
push it across,
Bump it through to the next one.
and then you'd fire the next one.
As you can see, it was designed to be mounted on a pintle. He would have 2 of them side by side. Someone would be reloading one while he was shooting the other one. It was
Cool.
ingenious little beast.
I think he made those in like 2 days or something. He was
Something
given the
silly
contract.
like that,
Something
yeah.
silly, yeah. He was asked to make them. He made them in like 2 days because they needed them for the TV after the movie, and he did. And so yeah, like a really good piece of West Australian gunsmithing history.
Film.
They've been living here.
Film history as well.
Film history.
Yeah.
They've been living here since 2008 or so. We've just been looking after them. So they're not ours. as such, but they're having a bit of a sleepover for the last 10 years. So, but where did these didn't come with it, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, with it?
I think they did, yeah. They were probably loaded when we got them.
Smoke Puff Brown.
No, I don't think they were loaded when we got them. But I'm pretty sure these came afterwards. I
think we came across them somewhere else.
Yeah, they were amongst some other stuff that came from down the
So
road.
I've been told I'm not allowed to fire one off in the car park.
No.
So, which is a
Range forward would think they were under siege.
yeah. I don't think anyone would find it funny except me. Actually, it'd be cool. Depends how accurate it is. It'd be fun to put one through the passenger side window on Trent's car as he was driving home one night.
Or Teddy's car.
You're so fucking funny.
Teddy's car would be even
Well,
funny.
Yeah, we'll fire it into the Merc. Yeah,
Well,
in through the window of
I've
the Merc.
seen you shoot. You're not going to hit the side of my car if I'm driving away.
Can you just hurry up? What's the time?
I can only go as fast as the computer allows me.
Who's on there?
Okay, so we've got quite a few people are tuned in watching us at the moment.
How many?
And it's a real shame because Trent is once again a bit slow off the mark today, and we haven't got him here yet. So I'm going to jump in.
I am
and
here.
I'll jump in and
Oh, look.
what else have you got to do?
I've got to finish.
Shane Elmore,
Shane Hamilton.
how are you, mate? Blah blah blah. I just want to make sure. Hey, peasant, that's your brother-in-law, Teddy.
Peasant.
Not me. Spud gun.
They all called him peasant.
Yeah. The peasant. Well, I haven't actually seen the peasant in a while, yeah?
Who's the peasant?
The peasant?
Teddy.
Teddy's brother-in-law, yeah? So I'll tell you the story while we're waiting for you to
Andy.
finish fucking around.
Andy.
Yeah.
They call Andy peasant.
I'd coined the term. So he was telling us a story about how he was doing stop and go at a roundabout, I think, in like Como or something like that. And they were redoing the bitumen on the road.
All right.
And a lady pulled up and he's like, look, you can't go through because it was like hot. You know, hot mix was on the road. Like, you can't drive through. And she said to him out the window, she said something along the line, you know, move out of the way, peasant. And so I started calling him peasant. So it's kind of stuck.
Well, that's the way to win friends and influence people, I suppose.
That's it. So we've been back at work. Well, we've been back in employment for a couple of days now, and we've been open, and it's been good. Like it's a big stress relief for those of us in the industry. Certainly, it's sort of a bit of a bittersweet moment, yeah, because now we're because now that that side of things is done. I mean, there's a lot of industries that. Hey, it's Annie. The peasant's watching.
Peasant's watching.
15 minutes of fame. Yeah. So now that everyone's back, it's sort of a bittersweet moment because there's a lot of people who aren't back at work or have lost their jobs. And so the actual economy itself has taken a bit of a hiding.
We're back.
Woo! Hey!
That was a good one.
That was a good one. And so now we're doing the maths on exactly how much money we've lost.
Oh, that's a bit low.
You getting drinks or?
Oh, yeah.
And so Beaten Firearms has taken a bit of a hit, and unfortunately that's going to probably last for a few months until we can start generating revenue and paying down debt and that sort of stuff. But we're here, we're alive, and Western Australia is probably in a bit better shape than the rest of the country. So you got to be happy about that. So yeah, we're back into it, and already straight away we have seen quite an influx of people coming through, ammunition, firearms, and actually one good thing that we've seen as a result of all this is that we've seen quite a number of new shooters, like people that have never been shooting before or have gotten out of shooting a long time ago, have come along and they've decided they want to get into shooting. So, and it's often the case in that, as soon as you tell people they can't do something, like go shooting, that's what people want to do, is go shooting. And so, the news articles and whatnot in relation to that has probably spurred a bit of interest. and now people are interested in shooting. So it's a really good sign that there's a lot of new shooters coming through. You got your phone on you?
No. Yep. Hello, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Friday night.
Can we tilt that down a bit since I'm sitting awfully low today? Are you still watching Cubus?
Cubus is, I don't know. Shout out Cubus.
Cubus.
And let us know you can hear us out there. Hit us with a like if you can hear us.
Cubus met my favourite football player of all time.
What do you think you get powder in? We had a big delivery of powder this week, Joe, but most of it's sold. So we got a delivery of powder, and I think it was on Thursday? Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday, big delivery of powder, and we had 2209 in the order of powder that arrived, and the 2209 that we ordered, we had actually ordered almost 1 year to the day previously, so 2019. So that gives you an idea of just how much the supply of powder in WA is suffering. Certainly we've got more orders in, and I'm not sure what sort of time period are we looking at for?
Every month. So pretty much.
We're going to get a delivery every month. We haven't had a delivery since last year sometime, and now we're going to get a delivery every month.
Well, that's what they're reckoning. That's Winchester don't control the company over here that does the delivering.
No?
No. So that's what they say. They do one a month. So that's kind of what I'm stuck with, guys. Sorry.
What do you mean one a month though? One delivery. So
A month.
They go out to all the shops once a month?
Yes.
Or?
They do the same delivery. They just do a run once a month. That's what they do.
Okay. So it's really determined on.
Yeah, and it depends on how many
People
kilos.
will be able to hear that. Turn the volume down.
Michael Cubis. I'm here, sweetness. Cubis.
219 was one that we had there for a long time, but we're out of stock of it now.
You got a photo with Darren Lockyer and Sam Thorday and never told me. That's just not on.
Do we do magazine extensions for Adler's B220s? Yes, we've always done magazine extensions, yeah. So we, back when the levers first came out before the restrictions, and then when we're turning them into bolt actions and the new bolt action Adlers, we make magazine extensions for all of them, yeah. We do a 7-shot, and if you've got a 28-inch barrel on your thing, which we should actually look into trying to get 28-inch barrels for B220s and that. We can put a 10-shot magazine on it, but it extends out further than the barrel. No, but you must be able to do it somehow.
All right, that's up to you.
We'll have to look into it. Anyway,
what am I looking for in it?
So you're looking for... Right there. What's written down there? Okay, staff. So at the moment, we had to... Yeah, new haircut.
Both of us.
Did you have a new haircut?
Yep.
When did you have a haircut?
Saturday night.
Oh, like a week ago. It's not new.
Okay.
It's a week old now.
Do you need a Friday night Beaton's cheese platter, Mel? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I don't know why you haven't thought of this earlier, Mel. You've really let us down there.
No, we'll have to start having audiences and stuff then, like a Friday night live with a live audience. Yeah. We'll have to start doing skits and shit and dressing up. So, staffing. So half the staff, you notice, haven't been here, and we never laid anyone off, but we did ask a few of the staff members not to come in. But what we've done since is that we have back paid them for what they would have worked, and so that way, and then we will be reimbursed that through the JobKeeper. And because JobKeeper's coming in, you'll see the old staff back here again, except obviously for Renee, who is heavily pregnant.
I don't know whether I used the word heavily.
Heavily pregnant.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Heavily sounds.
Well, your choice of pronouns are redundant.
No, that's true.
It's just,
hey,
she's very pregnant. Yeah, so Peasant's had a new haircut. First time this decade. Well, no, it's only in 2020. First time this century. He doesn't grow hair. All right, so so we spoke about, well, I've spoken about whether they're open again, and thanks very much to everyone who supported us during the shutdown. Really appreciate it.
It was much appreciated, guys.
The reason we're still here is because we had a really good support base of clients.
Is because of yous.
Yeah, so staff, you'll see more staff back here soon.
Okay. Well, we can move on to federal ammo if you want to stop talking about the staff.
Okay. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring into the online to the live videos. We wanted to bring in the sort of content that I was doing in the newsletters and that sort of stuff. And part of what I was doing is that I wanted to cover a product line, you know, an existing product line, not necessarily something that's new, but something that's well established within the industry, and talk about that as a product, yeah, or as a manufacturer. And so to give you a better idea of exactly the products that we support and why we support them and who the company is, and give you a bit of a background information into the actual stuff that you may not know or not realise without having to research it into it yourself. And so the first one that we wanted to do is Federal. The reason for that is Federal has been one of the key product lines that Beaton Firearms has represented for almost 20 years. It's been consistent throughout that period. We've pretty much always had Federal ammunition on the shelf, and there's very good reason for that. And so if you want to grab
Yes, you have to have a box of that.
grab the 110 grain stuff, because that's interesting and new. We'll probably, yeah, okay, so Federal.
All over it, guys. All over it.
Federal,
Like a rash.
back to front, but you get the idea. Do I do it that way? So Federal ammunition. Federal is a product line that is owned by the company Vista Outdoors. It used to be ATK. It's the same company, it's just they've split off what they do in the recreational sense and what they do in the military sense. They've split that off into two different names. ATK is still all the military stuff. Vista Outdoors is all the recreational stuff. And it's a huge, huge company, yeah? And they own a lot of that stuff. Like they own Federal, obviously. They also own CCI. They also own Alliant, the powder manufacturers. They also own RCBS and Lyman, the reloading components. They also own Spear projectiles. They own, they did own Savage rifles, but they actually lost that recently. They didn't lose it, they sold it. They own Champion clay target throwers and that sort of stuff. What else do they own? They recently bought Hoppies. Hoppies got 70% of the cleaning market, yeah, so it's a huge brand in firearms cleaning. They also own Bushnell, Simmons, Tasco. So lots and lots of really top quality brands. Weaver, yeah, are all under the Vista Outdoors banner, yeah. But Federal has consistently has been there for Bushnell. I said Bushnell.
Cubas has just come to the rescue. Thanks, Cubas.
Thanks, Cubas.
Thanks, Bushnell.
So, Federal ammunition. So they've got, I think, 2 or 3 plants producing ammunition. They do run the Salt Lake City plant, which is the military plant, which produces a surplus of 2 to 3 military ammunition for the military, and that ammo gets packaged up as American Eagle and sold into the recreational market. But the Federal ammunition brand that they run, they produce their own brass in store, and the machine that produces the brass and punches out the primers seats a primer into the case itself. And that is why you traditionally never been able to buy Federal unprimed brass. Okay, so Federal unprimed brass, it's really good brass, but you just can't buy it separately. But you need ammo to run guns in anyway. So you buy this stuff, you shoot it off and reload it. But the company itself is a really big company. It's well represented. They almost always go to the NIA trade shows, so we get to meet the guys from ATK from Vista Outdoors every few years. Really good bunch of guys. So they produce a big range of ammunition, and the baseline stuff that they produce is this Power Shock. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, did you get to meet them this year?
No, I didn't get to meet them this year. No, because NIA decided to cancel their trade show, so I didn't get to go. Yeah, so he went to the Beretta trade show in March, and then I was supposed to go to NIA in April, and I didn't get to go. because because of the virus, and they decided to close down.
So no junket for Zaine. I went to go there. It's pretty good.
So yeah, I mean it's fine. It is what it is. Screw you guys, I didn't want to go see you anyway. But yeah, so but what actually happened is NIA cancelled their trade show, and then within a week, all the international clients, like all the international brands like this, they all, there was a flu. Something about a flu. All the international guys cancelled all their appearances at the trade show anyway, so it was never going to happen. But anyway, so Federal ammunition, PowerShock, this is their base range of ammunition, yeah? PowerShock is loaded with, traditionally with mostly soft point ammunition, and it's a very game-related product, so, you know, small to medium game. Some of the projectiles, though, are actually not manufactured by Federal. Some of the projectiles, like the 338 225 grainer and the 6.5 140 grainer, and the 243 80 grainer are loaded with a Spear projectile, but Spear is owned by ATK or by Vista Outdoors, so it's technically theirs. But it's loaded with a hot core projectile from Spear, so it's a bonded cord projectile, so very, very good penetration. And you'll see that along with all of these soft pointed rounds. Going up from the soft point rounds that they produce. Now, the soft point...
Yes, Leo, we are, mate. We're back open again. You fellas in Victoria hopefully are going to follow suit sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But we are back open, selling ammo and guns again, mate. We're no restrictions, so it's a good thing.
Are you going to talk about the one good thing that police did? What did police do? Oh, yeah, about the application thing. We'll talk about that in a bit. So going up from your Federal PowerShock ammunition, you do go up to, they produce a premium line. And there's a couple of premium lines. There's premium, and then there's premium gold medal, which is specifically for target shooters. But the Federal premium line that we've been doing for a while, this is one of the more popular products that they do. It's in a new box with gold ends and all that sort of stuff, so it looks really flash. Federal premium, this is a 308 round loaded with a 150 grain ballistic tip projectile.
From Nozzler.
Nozzler ballistic tip. So Nozzler is not owned by ATK. It's probably one of the only companies that isn't. So Nozzler ballistic tip, very, very well-renowned medium game projectile. Yeah, so it's a non-bonded projectile, but it has got a very, very stout bullet. The jacket profile on them is very, very strong. Tapers towards the base, so you get good expansion, but it holds together if you hit bone and that sort of stuff. So that's why they choose to load Nozzler projectiles in their premium ammo, because it's a very, very, I want to say it's a very consistent projectile. Yeah, it works really well under a very big range of situations. So, so Federal premium.
Definitely hard to go past.
Reasonably more expensive than the ordinary round. Like, so in most centerfire calibers, in the PowerShock, you're looking at around about $1.50 a round, up to about $2 a round, depending on what caliber it is. Maybe a little bit more expensive for the weird calibers, like 6.5 Creedmoor.
And keep in mind as well, everything has gone up recently.
Yeah, so price increases in March, and we had another price increase in April because the dollar dropped.
Yeah, so it's normally around that though.
Someone was looking at a Barrett MRAD and got told no.
Well, you don't need that negativity in your life, David.
No, that's it. That's it. Yes, we can. But yeah, so the premium ammo, you are looking at around about $3 a round, yeah? But you got to weigh it up. You only have to shoot something once with a premium ammo. If you have to shoot something twice with a standard round, it's going to cost you more anyway. So that's the theory I work on. It works.
Oh, I like it.
So that's the main two lines that they sell that we represent. Now, why do we sell Federal? Now, Federal hasn't consistently been the cheapest round on the market. There are a lot of cheaper, other rounds are cheaper on the market. Some manufacturers have specials and that sort of stuff, and sometimes if you buy big quantities, you can get it at a good price. But Federal is consistently available. NIA, the importers for it, they've got big stock available for it, so we can always get hold of it. So that way people that are coming into us aren't having to chop and change different rounds depending on what we've got on the shelf at the time. We've pretty much always got Federal. and it's always at a consistent price. It's not going up and down and all that sort of stuff. And there's no backhanded deals or anything with Federal. Everyone who buys Federal is on the same level, yeah? So it's about consistency of supply. It's also about the consistency of the product itself. So Federal ammunition is done, they do big batches of ammunition and it all comes out and it's very consistent. And so you get consistent performance from batch to batch. So very good product in that respect as well. And they do load some really good premium products as well. So very well marketed towards certain areas, like certain aspects of our market. So that's why we support Federal. They do a couple of niche lines as well. You would have remembered a couple of years back, they did Federal Australian, like Aussie ammo,
yeah, Aussie ammo.
Which was all loaded with spear.
The Veloce flag on it.
Yeah, loaded with spear high point projectiles.
Yeah,
which were very, very fragile and good for the thin skin game that we've got here in Australia. And the only other, the newest one, which I asked you to go get and you didn't get, 308 grain.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Well, that's what you asked for.
Oh, this isn't the Power Shock, that's why.
Well, I don't know.
So the whole time I was talking about Power Shock, I meant this, yeah? Federal Power Shock.
I don't know the Power Shock.
This isn't Federal Power Shock. This is Federal...
VMAX.
Do they just call it VMAX?
Oh,
well, it's loaded with Hornady VMAX, okay? So Hornady VMAX is a very fragile projectile. The jacket on a Hornady VMAX projectile is the same thickness all the way around. Very, very fragile. When they hit something, they blow up really quickly. And 308 110 grain in a VMAX is very, very Federal gold in 300 Win Mag. Yeah, they make a 300 Win Mag 190 grain Sierra. I think they also make like something with a burger in it, or like a 178 grain burger.
Nah, it's heavier than that, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. What did Nicky get? Anyway, it was fucking expensive, but it was worth it. It was worth it. He had, using factory ammunition, cleared 1,000 metres, no worries, consistently. So
yeah. But we've 300 Win Mag, one of the guys that was shooting 300 Win Mag. So we had two guys with two 300 Win Mags on one of our long range courses, on the same course. One guy was shooting Power Shock 180 grainers, the other guy was shooting Federal Gold Medal Match 190 grainers.
That's a brilliant idea. We might look into that, Nathan, for sure.
The guy that was shooting the 180 grainers hit the 1,030 metre target on the second round. The guy with the 300 Win Mag shooting the 190 grain Match Kings hit the 1,030 metre target on the first round. So
and we're talking 10-inch gong too. So.
Yeah, so we're talking under MOA at 1,000 metres hit with the first round. So really, really good quality stuff. Yeah, definitely. When we're out the farm on a Friday night, we'll still be running one of these shows, I imagine.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's
we'll have some products that we can.
I quite like that as an idea. That's brilliant.
You'll have to get your shit together and be there on time, otherwise it'll be fucking dark like it is now. We'll be sitting here with our hands in our cocks in the dark, waiting for you to get your shit together so we can do a Friday night bloody video.
And if people wonder why I don't come in Monday, Tuesdays now.
It's because you're a sook.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so Federal rounds, yeah, really like them. It's a good product line. We really support it.
Not only do we sell them, though, we also shoot them. That's
absolutely.
That's what we go to. That's our go-to ammo.
And it's good brass too if you want to reload it. Yeah.
So,
but just a couple of interesting points is that like I said before, the soft point ammunition that they load in their Power Shock in the 243 80 grainers, I'd have to double check, but it was always loaded with a spear projectile.
Cubist might know that.
No, he won't.
Throw him under the bus.
Yeah, that's it. And they produce a good line of ammunition too. They produce for.
I've got no idea how I do it day to day, Ted. To be honest,
yeah,
it's hard work. One of us has to do it, so I guess it's me. But yeah.
All right, you get to talk about the new lever releases.
Which
so
ones?
The CZ515, you had a week to fucking research it.
Well, I had 3 days.
And the new, if you want to talk about it.
No.
No, we're not talking about it then.
No. I want to wait.
We'll find something else to talk about then.
Should I talk about how hard it is to work here?
Talk about the CZ515 for a start. Have you got any pricing?
No, I haven't.
Is the computer still on?
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, you should have told me this before.
Why don't I just do these videos on my own?
Why didn't you ask me this at the start of the day when we were discussing what we're going to talk about?
No, you said we
Anyway.
need to figure out what we're going to talk about tonight, and I figured out what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, you didn't
tonight.
tell me though, but that's all right. It's all right. So what he's alluding to is the new CZ515, which is lever, release, rimfire, basically. That's all they're going to do.
But the lever's on the side, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the lever's on the side like a Verney Carron, which we've already discussed this in a previous video. I still don't have any prices because I haven't had a chance to look into it. I will look into it for next video. What I will talk about today is, though, as we all know from the Verney Carron Speedlines, they had a 12-gauge shotgun that was due to come out a couple of years ago now called the Veloce, or the Veloce, or I don't know, something French.
Veloce.
I don't have the tongue to pronounce it. But at the moment, it was, vetoed really, wasn't it, by the government?
So
It was a big no.
It was brought in under a permit, and the Australian Customs classified it as a grenade launcher or
something
a rocket
like
launcher
that.
or something like
It was some bullshit. Anyway,
that.
so
And banned its importation.
they said no. So we got the Verney Carron Speedlines in, which is the rifle, works on the same action. You guys have probably seen us talk about it numerous times. They're an awesome setup. Really, really designed for driven hunts and stuff like that, but work really well in our conditions as well.
Some boys, there was 3 guys that came in here and bought one each, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They go up shooting camels with them.
Camels and stuff like that. So come in a fair few range of calibers. So 308, 7mm Rem mag, 3006, 300 Win mag. They come in both timber and synthetic. They're just an awesome setup. Hard case, muzzle brake, the whole lot.
And because of the mechanism on them, because they're a blowback mechanism, even in 300 Win mag, they're surprisingly mild to shoot.
Oh, extremely
Because
mild.
the mechanism itself soaks up a lot of the recoil.
Yeah, so that one behind us is a 300 Win mag, and it's one of the most pleasant guns to shoot. Light barrel, light rifle, but you just don't feel the recoil in it. Well, they've got a shotgun, and it's based on the same principle. But we couldn't have it.
You could have it in 300 Win mag, but you couldn't have it in 12.
But you couldn't have it in 12 gauge because that was dangerous. Now, the guys that are bringing them in, the supplier has fought tooth and nail. They've even been right up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said no. To circumvent that now, if it's made in Australia, it's legal.
It doesn't have to come through customs.
Yeah, well, that's right. So it doesn't get stopped at the border. So their idea is they're going to get these things in from Verney Carron in pieces and actually assemble them and make the final couple of parts or whatever it is here in Australia to make them Australian made, to get rid of any customs problems or whatever that they're going to have. Downside is...
It's the same thing with Lucky 13, yeah? Like, you couldn't get anything bigger than a 10-shot magazine through customs, like even if it was in a gun. Like the BX-15s and stuff. We can't get them anymore because customs jumped on it. But so Lucky 13 were making them in the country, and that's why you could have extended magazines for your Ticker or your Ruger or whatever it was. Yeah?
Yeah. So, how far away are they? That's the question that has been asked numerous times. There has been delays along the way. The last delay was obviously COVID-19, which has decimated France. Nothing's coming out. So at this point in time, they're still not on their way. Hopefully, once the world gets a handle on this, what should we call it, disease, pandemic, virus, that's probably a better word than a disease. Hopefully then we'll see them and we'll be able to go from there. I still haven't got pricing on them. They said they're going to be roughly about the same as the Speedline.
What's the Speedline behind us going for?
$3,400.
Yeah.
Give or take. So, yeah, hopefully.
So we're not going to know anything for at least a couple of months.
Yeah.
And we don't know where the world's going to be at that stage.
No.
And but we'll hopefully we'll update you as the months go by on when we've got a bit more of a defined date. Because I am a little bit uneasy. We've already got quite a few people expressing interest and people that want to put down deposits to secure them. But I don't want to take any money off anyone until I know I can get hold of a product. You know what I'm saying? Please keep in touch with us if the Veloce is something that you want to get.
Or even if you want more information. If this is the first you're hearing about it, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it on the phone. So just give me a call, and we can talk it through. We might even see if we could put up a picture or something on Facebook or something at some stage.
Oh, Veloce.
Yeah. Just for you guys to have a look at. But yeah, just let me know. You know, like the more interest that we can get, well, the more interest that I can put forward to the supplier, and then he'll obviously know that it's going to be worthwhile for them to start trying to. I mean, they already know it's worthwhile, but you know,
if they can get some numbers behind the interest, then they can start putting, you know, some pressure on the French.
Yeah, that's right. And if the manufacturer starts saying that, you know, Australia really wants their product, well, they'd be mad not to start sending it. You know, as soon as they get to the permission, I suppose, to do it. Yeah. CZ515s are awesome. Yeah, they look awesome, Alexander. They really do. I just haven't had a chance to look into it. They look like they work on much the same action as the Speedline, so I'll do a bit of research and see what I can find out for you.
And I'm still not sure at this stage. I did say that I was going to, but I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to look at converting a B220 into a reliever release gun. Yeah, because there's quite a lot of modification that would be required to do that. But definitely, if this looks like it's going to drag its feet for too much longer, then definitely that's something we'll look at. But obviously, it's not a priority at the moment for Beaton Firearms. We've got a lot of other things on our plate.
So Gordon's just asked, will we ever have the right to own a sound moderator? No.
Probably not in Australia.
No.
Not in the near future anyway. We're having arguments about all sorts of things. We've just got back from a 6-week ban imposed by our politicians, which was just a malicious, arbitrary decision, not based on anything in particular. They're not the sort of people that are going to sort of float the idea of suppressors, silencers, moderators, whatever you want to call them. Not in the near future anyway.
Leo, I don't know about you. I'm pretty certain you're in Victoria, yeah? I don't know what your laws are regarding the Verney, Carron, Veloce. That'd be something that you'd probably have to check in with your own licensing branch. Over here, I'm pretty certain that they'll be fine. Not a good idea to put pressure on the French. They have issues with pressure.
Yes.
They just work backwards, Bruce.
So we've gone through a product review. We've spoken about some new products that are on the market. What else is on the list?
Well, the next technical conversation that you wanted to have was about twist rates.
Right. Okay.
So,
let's
talk about twist rates.
Right. So where do I start? Start at the start. Okay. So projectiles, traditionally in the olden days, we're talking a long time ago, were not spun. They were round anyway. So
yeah, that's right. I was going to say you're going to start right at the beginning. Like, what is a twist rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we worked out relatively early on that if you spun the projectile, a projectile that wasn't round, so a projectile that was elongated, a longer projectile produced better ballistics in flight. The problem is that you had to stop them from tumbling. Generally speaking, a projectile doesn't want to just float through the air how it is. It'll tumble, and so we had to work out a way to prevent the tumbling. And the way we worked out to do that is to spin it. We gave the projectile what they call gyroscopic stability, and so by spinning the projectile on its axis, the projectile wanted to stay straight in the air. But you've got to spin a projectile at a certain rate to keep it stable. So how do you work out how fast you have to spin it? Well, there's quite a long mathematical process to do that. But essentially, if you put it into the popular stability calculator, you're looking for a stability factor of 1.5, yeah, through the popular stability. I can't remember the exact name of the guy who designed it, but you're looking for a stability factor of 1.5. We used to say it was 1.2, but we're actually nowadays we're looking for 1.5s. A bullet will still fly at 1.2, but what happens is that it's not perfectly stable. So essentially what it is you've got a projectile. The longer the projectile is, the faster you have to spin it to stop the tail from wanting to travel first, yeah? Because if you look at a projectile, they're very slender on the nose, and then they're quite chunky at the rear, and they got a little boat tail. So most of the weight of a projectile is actually behind the geometric center of that projectile. And so where the mass is, where the weight is going to want to go first. So you spin it to prevent that from happening. The longer a projectile is, and the more of the weight is distributed in the rear of the projectile, then the faster you have to spin it. Now, people have always said that basically the heavier a projectile is, the faster twist rate that you need to stabilise it. And that's not entirely true. Thanks, Trent. There's a projectile for all those people who have never seen a projectile before. That's a projectile. But you can see the nose end is quite slender, and most of the weight's in the arse. So most people have always said that the heavier a projectile is, the faster you have to spin it, and there's an element of truth to it, but it's not the fact that we're looking for. We're looking for length. The longer a projectile is, the faster you have to spin it. Now, generally speaking, projectiles that are heavier are also longer, because they can't be fatter, because they have to be a certain diameter for the barrel. They can't get any fatter, they have to get longer. But it also is determined by how long the boat tail is, how long the nose is. If it's a round nose projectile, for example, there'll be more weight in the nose, the overall length of the projectile will be shorter, you don't have to spin them as fast. More match style projectiles, thanks Scoops.
You always are.
just come in here and do it for me, Scoop.
Yeah, jeez. I love it.
So the more long, slender match style projectiles are longer, even for relatively lightweight, they're long, and so they need to be spun faster. And traditionally speaking, most of the common calibers, you had twist rates around 1 in 10, yeah? So 22 cal, like 224 was traditionally 1 in 12, but like 243s and 2506 and 270s and 7 mils and were all 1 in 10. 30 cal was traditionally 1 in 12 as well. So you're all around that 1 in 12 twist rate, 10 to 12 twist rate. Nowadays we've got a much better idea of producing really high ballistic coefficient projectiles for long range shooting, and for more energy for hitting animals at longer range and having sufficient energy to put them down. That now projectile manufacturer has gone towards faster twist barrels. So you can get twist rates in 1 in 8 for most of the common match style calibers, so 22, 6 mil, 6.5, 7 mil, 30 cal. And even nowadays we're going towards 1 in 7s, and we've even put a 1 in 6 twist barrel in one of our clients' rifles for the shooting of very high BC, very long projectiles. So that's where the correlation is. So the longer a projectile is, the faster you have to turn it to keep it stable. Now, what happens if you don't stabilize a projectile? What if you don't actually, it doesn't become fully stable? What it does is that if you look at the end of a projectile, yeah, if you look at the projectile straight on, and it's quite hard to see there, but if you look at it straight on,
blocking my face.
The projectile should turn on its geometric center, yeah? It should spin perfectly on its geometric center. The problem is that if you don't spin it fast enough, the front or rear of the projectile will actually start to yaw, so the bullet will turn slightly sideways, and it'll go econcentric like that through the air, yeah? And that, what it does is, instead of exposing one caliber of projectile, so if you've got a 30 cal, instead of having a 308 projectile flying through the air, if the bullet is slightly keyhole, that's what you see at the target, yeah? If the bullet is slightly, not quite stabilized, and it goes slightly skew through the air, you're actually exposing a bigger area, frontal area, and so the bullet will slow down quicker because of the increased air resistance. Essentially, how that's demonstrated mathematically is your ballistic coefficient from the projectile goes down. So you might be shooting a really high BC projectile, but if it's not stabilizing, you're losing a portion of that ballistic coefficient. The bullet will lose energy, it'll drop off quicker, and it'll be affected by wind more. So that's what happens if you don't stabilize your projectiles correctly.
So I've also heard people say that there's well, what's your take on when people say that you can overstabilize a projectile?
Okay, so overstabilization of a projectile is a myth. from the point of an external ballistics point of view. Okay, you cannot overstabilize a projectile. You can have a stability factor of 4, and you still not overstabilize a projectile. What happens is that as you increase the twist rate, or the speed of the projectile, and therefore the rotational speed of the projectile through the air, you'll get to a point where the jacket can no longer hold the projectile together. There is so much centrifugal force that the jacket literally strips off the projectile, and the core of the proji usually falls and drops, a couple hundred meters short of where you're aiming. And we've seen that on a long-range shooting course, not the last one, the one before, where the client actually was shooting projectiles that were coming apart in the air, and were landing short. But most of that is down to the projectile construction, not the fact that you're spinning it too fast. Some projectiles you just cannot spin them too fast or fire them too fast through a barrel. You need to shoot them a bit slower. But some projectiles are made much stouter, so it's stronger, and they will stand a lot more centrifugal force, and so you can fire them through a very fast twist barrel, get high stabilization values. Yeah. And evidence of that is if you've got a 1 in 8 twist barrel and you fire a 50, like in 224 we're talking, and you fire a 55 grain projectile through it, some 55 grain projectiles won't make it to the target, they'll blow up in the air, and some will make it to the target. But that's down to your bullet construction rather than the twist rate itself, yeah? But that's, twist rate's there to stabilize projectiles. So, yeah, but... So the flip side of that though, is that if you've got, and this is where bench rest shooting comes into it, and if you've got a projectile, yeah, and every projectile is not made perfect. We cannot make a projectile absolutely perfect. There is always going to be some sort of error. There's going to be tolerances in the manufacture of projectiles. Now they've got them really, really good, but even in the density of the lead, if it varies slightly from bullet to bullet, you will change the way a bullet is constructed. And then you've got everything else that's in the chain as well, in the case walls, as well as the chamber and the barrel diameters and all that sort of stuff. There's all these little errors that sort of compound out. But one error is the actual bullet construction itself and the consistency. Now, if you look at this projectile, and this is a 30 cal? 6.5. 7 mil.
Yep.
So it's a 284 projectile.
There you go.
The center, if you draw the absolute perfect geometric center on that projectile, you can bet your ass that the center of mass is not on that center, not perfectly. There's always going to be a very small difference between where the center of mass is and where the geometric center is. Now the bullet is going to spin on its geometric center, yeah? Because the barrel is going to spin it on its geometric center. But if its center of mass is slightly off center, then the bullet is actually going to move around in the air. And that's where you lose your accuracy. That's where inaccuracy comes from. So, if you've got an econcentric projectile and you spin it faster, you're going to magnify that error, yeah? So if you're spinning it slowly, like it through a 1 in 14 twist barrel, like was really popular in 22-50s, then you'll have a certain amount of error. The faster you spin the projectile, the more error you get and the bigger the groups you shoot, which is traditionally one of the reasons why bench rest shooters always shoot slow twist barrels. So we're talking in 224, you're talking 1 in 14, in 6 mil, 1 in 14, even 1 in 15 barrels, 30 cal, or 6.5, 1 in 11s, which are actually quite slow. And 30 cal, you can even get up to a 1 in 17 twist barrels for shooting little 125 grain projectiles. You don't need to spin them very fast, and spinning them slowly increases your accuracy. So there's a definite advantage going to slow twist if you're shooting sort of bench rest style.
Preston's asked best 7mm rem mag twist rate then. Most rifles seem to be 9.5, I think is what
yeah, 9.5 was made popular by, I think it was Remington.
What's the best?
Pretty sure it was Remington.
Well, once again, it depends what projectile you want to shoot.
Yeah, so it depends on the length of the projectile. So 9.5 is a good sort of It's a really good, it'll shoot like 9.5 will shoot any hunting projectile. You know what I'm saying? So anything that's a hunting projectile will go through a 9.5 twist. It's only when you're looking at the really long long range style projectiles, high ballistic coefficient, stuff with hybrid ogives and that sort of thing, is when you need to go to faster twists. You can go to a 1 in 7 twist if you want to. I know TSC make a 1 in 7 twist barrel, because you can actually get up to Sierra, like 197 grainers. Yep. Nosler make a 185, Berger make a 195. So these big, long, high BC projectiles. But then you also need to think about how fast can you shoot them. You need to have the volume of powder behind it to get them up to a velocity where that advantage of the high ballistic coefficient is actually relevant.
Well, Scoop, once again, has decided that he needs to keep us here forever and has asked about, what about a progressive twist barrel? Thanks, Scoop.
Progressive twist barrels are something that a lot of different manufacturers have trialled over the years and gone away from because there's really no advantage to it. Not in small arms, anyway.
When you bring us that cheese platter in, Scoop, Zed will go through it with you.
We'll consider answering some of your questions.
What else have we got here? If Alex can bounce off a tree... No, that's not for us. Turned a BT 55 grain into a 12 gauge round. Okay, I don't know where that was going. Ha ha. Alright.
Yeah, so definitely if you're looking at shooting long range, then there's definite advantage using shooting high BC projectiles, so you want to go for a faster twist. 22 cal 1 in 8, 6mm 1 in 7s you can get now, 6.5 1 in 7s for like the big 157 grain projectiles on the ground now, 7mm 1 in 7, 30 cal 1 in 7 for like the A-tip projectiles that are coming out. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff.
There you go. Apparently the 25mm chain gun on the Oslav has progressive twist brake barrels.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Alan. We need to get one of those for the farm.
What advantage would there be? What in a small arm, Bill? What main advantage would there be to a progressive twist barrel?
None.
Yeah, okay, none.
All right. I'm giving away a hat for a while.
Yeah. The only thing that might be would be the deposits of copper. That if you sped the twist up progressively.
Yeah, you would probably get less fouling.
You might get less fouling, but that would be hardly detectable, I would think, by an ordinary person trying to clean a gun.
Yeah.
Night, Michael.
Nicole, I have a question. Cubis. And then I've got to click.
Love you, Cubis.
I have a question. What's for dinner?
What's for dinner?
I don't know, woman. What is for dinner?
All right. Question time. Ask a question, so I'll give away a hat. First person to get it right. Make it about twist rates.
Make it about twist rates?
Yep.
It's your idea. You come up with something. Why don't you make it about federal? What's something that people can find out about federal?
You've got to make it something easy though. I just want to give.
You want to make it a gunpowder one?
I just want to give away a hat. Just ask a question. Or I tell you what, I can give away a hat. The first person to buy a Verney Carron Speedline off us tomorrow gets a hat. How about that? No, go and ask a proper question. Make it about twist rates. Make it something silly.
Okay. So two calibers that were invented within a year of each other. One was 243 Winchester, the other one was 6mm Remington. What was the main difference between the two that resulted in Winchester becoming absolute, popular, you can buy it anywhere caliber, and 6mm Remington dying in the ass like everything that fucking Remington invented? Every caliber that Remington invented.
Remington do good hair clippers. That actually created this.
The Remington invented the 6mm Remington, that died in the ass. They invented the 280 Remington, that died in the ass. What else? 260 Remington, that never went anywhere.
Hey Preston, I think I've actually got some 2208. Yep, I've got 2 tins left.
Who owns Federal? Who owns Federal? Isn't it like it's a big company? It's probably owned by a board.
Is it
Everyone's federal.
Lower the chance of pressure spikes.
Vista would be shareholders.
Yeah. Probably federal.
Winchester ran a 1 in 10. You're not wrong there, Stuart, but why did that win? Why did Winchester? Well, no, Winchester didn't run a 1 in 10, I don't think, early on. But no, I think they actually did. But why was it popular? More so than the 6mm length of the round? No, that had nothing to do with it. So why did the 6mm Remington die in the arse, and why did the 243 Winchester take off and was absolutely one of the most popular calibers in the world now? What did Remington do wrong, or what did Winchester do right? Now, nothing to do with the overall length of the case, or the fact that 6mm Remington actually fits into a long action better than a short action. This might be a bit too hard, this one. This might turn out like my
I want to go home sometime tonight, eh?
This might end up like my quiz that I did at the shop.
That was gold.
You tell us.
Were any of you
No,
guys...
it's a little bit.
No,
well,
it's
you
hilarious.
You don't want to talk about it because it's at someone else's.
And I don't care. That was hilarious. That was the best thing that's ever happened, ever. Was the
You
fact
tell
that
the story. You tell the story.
you...
While we're waiting for people to answer why.
He did a quiz at SHOT Show, what, a couple of years ago? Not the last one, the one before. And he's doing the quiz.
Yeah, Stuart Ossel wins. Okay, so Stuart Ossel won it. No, you tell that, and then I'll tell the reason why.
Stuart Ossel.
OSTLE.
Get in contact with me tomorrow, Stuart, so that we can... Oh,
Congratulations.
Not tomorrow, Monday.
Yeah,
we're
not open tomorrow.
I'm not here
we're
tomorrow.
still open on. We'll be open next Saturday.
Marketing.
But tomorrow we'd already made marketing had a bit to do with
Yeah,
it.
it's probably marketing as well. Yeah, Monday. Not open tomorrow. Monday. But SHOT Show a couple of years ago. He runs a quiz. Funniest thing ever. Oh,
Was
mate.
it the last? It was the one before.
Yes, I said a couple of years ago.
It was 4 years ago.
4 years ago, right? Does his thing, perfect, brilliant, awesome. Everyone was dumbfounded and impressed by his whole knowledge and showmanship.
You're talking about me again?
Right up until the quiz, where he asked the question, old mate wins the quiz, and he says, come up on stage. Now there's stairs to get up on the stage.
I did a quiz, people can come up on stage, and when they come up on stage, we did another sort of game show
get
style
their prize
thing, and people won prizes.
The poor bastard that he picked on was in a wheelchair. The look on his face was just like, come up on stage. Oh.
So I went down the steps and I went down into the crowd with my microphone to the person who had won that section. And the next part of it was actually a spelling test.
Business.
So you had to spell the name of popular calibers. And so I asked him
proper
ticker,
brands.
And he struggled. He couldn't spell ticker, and it was written on the hat of a person sitting in front of him. So yeah.
It just went from being the most...
It went bad from bad to worse.
It just dropped straight
I ended
down.
up just throwing promotional crap into the crowd.
Oh.
Yeah, so I won't be doing that again. It was good in theory, like it was a really good idea to get people up on stage and have some competitions there, a bit of a game show type event, and you know, it would have been a lot of fun. But it didn't turn out that way.
It was good here. Here's a new pair of shoes. Oh, you don't have legs.
Okay, so Stuart Ossel got it. So Winchester invented their 6mm, the 243 Winchester, based off 308 case. Remington invented their case, the 6mm Remington. Was it always called the 6mm Remington? Was it 244 Remington first or 6mm Remington first?
You got a 6mm Remington,
244 Remington.
Yeah,
I got a
244.
Yeah, of course.
So 244 Remington.
Train wreck, absolutely.
So Remington came out with theirs and said, right, this is going to be a really good varmint and light game round. People are only going to want to shoot like 70, 75 grain projectiles. So we'll just put a 1 in 12 twist barrel in it. Winchester came out and said, well, people might want to shoot some medium game with it as well. So we'll put a 1 in 10 in ours. And people worked out very quickly that you could fire a 100 grain projectile through a Winchester 243, but you couldn't shoot them through the Remington. And so the Winchester guns, which were by that stage getting used to shoot white-tailed deer and all that sort of stuff with the 100 grain, nice bonded 100 grain projectiles,
yes,
they could knock them down
Good for rabbits.
So it was a really good platform for that. It was a very versatile platform, and it was all around the barrel twist rate. The Remington fizzled and died in the arse. Yeah. The Remington tried to bring it out later on as rebranded as the 6mm Remington, but people already knew what was going on. They'd changed the twist rate by then, but everyone had already bought 243 Winchesters. So the 6mm Remington never took off, and that's why it died in the arse. And it was about twist rate. And it was about Remington didn't sort of survey their market correctly and produced a product that was very, didn't reflect what people wanted it to do. Yeah, and they did exactly the same thing with the 280 Remington. The 270 Winchester had already been invented 50 years before. They came out with the 280 Remington. And if they'd done it right, no one would be shooting a 270 nowadays. Everyone would be shooting 280s because it's a superior cartridge. Fits into the same gun. They didn't market it correctly, and the first gun they bought it out on was an auto loader, which you couldn't load up and only had an 18-inch barrel, so all the ballistics were crap because it didn't get the muzzle velocity, and everyone sort of had their 270s, looked at the numbers that were coming out on this new 280 cartridge, and said, well, why am I going to bother doing that? And no one changed. Yeah, they did exactly the same thing. They rebranded the cartridge and called it the 7mm Express, Remington Express. Everyone sort of saw it coming and went, nah, it's not going to happen.
You sound real salty when you tell that story too.
Well, because the 280 6mm Remington and 280 Remington were really good cartridges. It was just the marketing really killed them. So,
anyone? Preston, probably not, mate, because we're not open tomorrow. So if you can call me first thing Monday morning, I'll probably have one for you. There you go. Incentive not to get too smashed on Sunday night.
Yeah, ring us up 9 o'clock.
Yep, 9 o'clock Monday morning, Preston. Give me a call.
That'll be onto it. So 280 Remington I thought was 6mm Remington. No, 280 Remington is 7mm cartridge. So it's the 3006 cartridge.
That's junior, by the way.
Yeah, it is too. So 270 is 3006, next straight down to 270. When they invented the 280, they didn't want to create a cartridge that people would mistakenly put into a 270 and then blow it up. So what they did is they pushed the shoulder forward on the 280 Remington cartridge. It gives it a little bit more case capacity over a 270, and it won't chamber in a 270, so you can't make it blow up or anything like that. But it actually makes it ballistically superior than a 270. Also, because it shoots 7mm projectiles, which are in much, much greater supply. Everyone makes really good high ballistic coefficient and hunting projectiles and all sorts of stuff in 7mm, and like no one does it in 270, or very, very limited numbers, relatively speaking. The 7mm as a diameter is superior. The 280 case is superior. There's a lot of really good things about the 280 Remington, which over the 270. But 270 invented 50 years beforehand. 7x64 Brennack is another good one. It's basically a 280 Remington, but European version. And the Americans would never take that on because they didn't invent it.
I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm just listening to all these cartridges that you're just going, oh, it's a superior cartridge. And I'm going through the rifles that I know you own.
I've got a 280 Remington and a Seiko.
And every one of them seems to, and a 7 Brandon Brennicky. And
yeah. And a 6mm Remington.
And a 6mm Remington.
Well, they're good cartridges. So I bought guns and built, I had a 3006 Kimber that I built into a 6mm Remington. I had a Seiko in 270 that I built into a 280 Remington. And then a 7x64.
What doesn't fit into your 280?
What are you talking about?
Remember when we went out to the farm that time and you were like, oh, I've only got 11 rounds of 280 left, and then it turned out that you didn't have 11.
I had a packet of ammo which was 19 rounds of it was 280 and 1 round was 3006. But they don't chamber, yeah? Well, didn't in my gun.
Well, ideally chambered when you...
If you could stand on the bolt handle a bit harder.
There was a thought process there that I seen where he went, I'm going to slap that bolt down.
I'm going to stand on it, make it go down. 338 Lepore. Thoughts on 7mm Rem Mag? 7mm Rem Mag's a brilliant cartridge. Mm-hmm. Really well designed, really good ballistics. It depends on what you want to shoot with it.
338 lap actually improved.
Yeah, I've actually got a reamer for that, Jace. In fact, if you get the 338 lap and improve it and neck it up to 375, it's called the 375 Sledgehammer. And you'd have one of them just so you can say, I've got a 375 Sledgehammer. It's actually a really sexy looking case.
That's what she said. Awesome, but a 7mm 375 Ruger is super duper.
So I built one of them. Unfortunately, we had bullets blow up in the air and all sorts of funny stuff happen. And also forming cases is a bit of a pain in the ass. So I built a 7mm and I've also built a 338 and I've built a 30 cal, but that never really, we didn't do much with that. But the other two we developed a bit of time on. And they turned out to be really good cartridges. And the benefit now is that the 375 Ruger case is actually the same as the 300 PRC case. It's very, very close. And so now we can get 300 PRC brass and neck it down for the 7mm, neck it up for the 338, and we can form cases really, really easily. And they're really, really good cartridges. So you're talking like the 7mm punchy, which is...
Oh, we should discuss that on another episode. And the 6mm punchy.
7mm punchy, which is 300 PRC neck down to 7mm, is a really, really good cartridge. Hasn't got as much case capacity as the 28 Nosler, not quite, but it's not a rebated rim either, so it'll feed easier, and you can get brass for it easier and cheaper and that sort of stuff. So it's a really good idea. And the 338 version is not far off it as well. And they both, like the advantages of them over a 7mm Rem mag or a 338 Win mag, they got a little bit more case capacity and they headspace on the shoulder. They don't have a belt, so you're going to get longer case life, you're going to get better accuracy out of them, that sort of stuff. Can't wait to get one. Get what?
Teddy wants a 7mm punchy.
Oh, does he?
He does.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
7mm Rem mag seems to go for what want them. 300 Win mag is a bit brutal. No, there's really nothing between them. No. Not if you're comparing apples and apples, yeah? So if you compare 150 grain of 300 Win mag and 150 grain of 7mm Rem mag, the kick is very similar. There is a difference between the two, depending on what you want to do. If you're shooting like 200, 210 grain rounds through a 300 Win mag, well then, yeah, they've got more recoil. But it's not marketably more recoil. I mean, either of those guns, you'd put a muzzle brake on or have a decent kick pad.
Nah, Teddy, I know exactly what you want, you dickhead. You want
and you'll get
7mm punchy. That's what you're getting.
And they're both mild to shoot. Yeah, they're both. So yeah, like it would really come down to whether you need to shoot, whether you need terminal performance. Yeah, so the external performance on the two, technically the 300 Win mag would really slightly have an edge over the 7mm Rem mag. But I mean that's really circumstantial. The main thing would be the terminal performance, yeah. So depending on what game you're hunting, the 300 Win mag does have a much bigger wound channel. You can get a bigger range of heavy projectiles for deep penetration and that sort of stuff.
That's what she said.
You're so juvenile, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. I was waiting for you to say it though.
Well, it's not as if we hold back on this live video.
No, that's right. So. Speaking of holding back, it's now 20 to 7.
So what?
Well, I've got a family.
I got a family.
Yeah, but mine like me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, I mean, it's 20 to 7. So we've both been here for an hour, considering that it took you fucking 10 minutes to actually get here once the video started recording. So I think it's only fair that we sort of knock off about now.
Yeah, that's right.
So I've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. And you've been here for an hour.
I've been here 12 hours today, though. Oh, what time did you
get
here?
You've been here for 12 hours. Don't mean you work for 12 hours.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Just whatever time I clock on.
Having said that, he didn't have lunch until, what, 4 o'clock?
4. It's showing.
So you don't need to go home and to see your family because you can't be that hungry.
It's showing a little.
But maybe
look at the weight. It's just falling off me. I wouldn't be patting my belly there, Fatso.
What? What's wrong with mine?
Yeah, that's right. Punchy.
Punchy.
Isn't that for pansies and puffs?
It is. It's for pansies and puffs. And that's what punchy stands for.
And it'll outshoot anything you've got, Teddy.
Teddy was shooting a mile with his 338. I don't think you've done that yet.
No.
You will.
Anybody can shoot at a mile. I mean...
He hit it with second round.
Oh, I hit it. Did you?
Yeah.
It's not what some boys are saying.
Yeah. All right.
But where's you going?
Yeah, we're gonna knock off. We've been here for an hour or so. It's a good goal to have. We've spoken about some good things. Make sure you put down in the comments what you would like, questions that you would like answered, stuff that you would like to see next week. And we'll probably follow on with another good common product that we like to support. It'll probably be a firearms manufacturer, I think, next time. So maybe Ticker, Weatherby, Hauer, Ruger, Savage, something like that. They're all good brands that we've been supporting since they've been readily available in Australia. So hit us up, let us know which one you'd like to have a look at. I might, if we're talking about a gun, we might even be able to strip it here on the desk and show you what they're like inside, and I'll give you my opinion of really good ideas, that because every manufacturer's got features about their rifles which are really, really clever, and every manufacturer's got things about their rifles which are really, really dumb and
Which
stupid.
really aren't.
Yeah, so we're going to best long range option in your question. Right now, 300 PRC. Opinion? Yeah, opinion. 300 PRC is one of the best ones that you can get a license for, because that's what it's coming down to at the moment. So yeah, we're out of here. Catch you later, guys.
Have a
We
good
will
weekend,
see you
guys.
on Monday. We're not open tomorrow. We'll see you next week.